Oh my word, episode 5 already. Mark, I can barely
Time
believe
is just
it.
flying, Doug. It's
Time is
flying by.
flying. And speaking of time, we always like to talk about where we are and what time it is. So this
Yes.
one, we've can I say
I'm actually fairly close to you, Doug. Probably the
exactly? I was
closest
going to
I've
say
been in a long time.
to use
Right?
an American expression, we've kicked our own ass here, Mark. So this could have been a
Yes.
time
Yes.
where we were doing it at a sensible hour, but here I am at
Yes.
10:30 p.m. and you're at 8:30
Yeah.
p.m. You're in Singapore
Yes.
because we have the
I am.
magnificent Sheila. Who? What time is it for you over in Arlington, Sheila?
Very decent. 8:30 in the morning. I got the
8:30 in the
lucky
morning.
draw on
Yes. There
this
we
one.
go.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so we don't bury the lead here, Sheila. We are proficiency based routing someone with deep expertise in the Agent Workspace into our podcast. Sheila,
Yes.
why don't you introduce yourself? I mean, obviously I'm Doug. Everyone knows me because they love the podcast. Everyone knows Mark Rutkowski,
That's right.
who is 9/10 of the podcast. But Sheila, please tell us about yourself.
Nice to meet you. I'm Sheila, Principal Product Manager here at AWS Amazon Connect. I've been working with Mark R for 5.5 years and hasn't gotten old for a single day. So I'm excited to be here and talk to you all about whatever questions you throw at me.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sheila. Now, as always, I like to begin by asking Mark how he's doing. I know he's a little jet lagged, but Mark, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Doug. Yes, it's I got in here Monday, and I'm here for some customer workshops, which is always a great time. Really enjoy that. But I popped up at 3:30 this morning, wide awake. I was like, all right, I guess I'll get my workout in this early. But I bet after this I'll probably be crashing, hopefully.
Well, that's why the people on YouTube know why how someone comes to look like you do. It's 3:30 a.m.
That's right.
workouts. It's you and Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. That's right.
Now, we want to get into some of the new releases. So, Mark, I want to give you first crack. What's caught your eye of the new releases?
Yeah. So one of the ones that caught my eye is that now essentially with Amazon Connect cases, it supports rules to automatically update. Essentially cases within using contact lens rules.
Yes.
And that's super useful, right? Because, typically, right. So, for everyone, contact lens is essentially our call analytics capabilities. And, when you have a call coming through, you can now trigger rules that, can, for example, auto assign refund cases for a billing team, or, it could automatically create a high priority case, right? Based on a specific intent that you picked up, from a conversation between a customer and an agent. So
should we walk that right back to the sort of base principle? Yeah. So you've set up a rule that says, I want to capture, and let's say it's natural language. I want you to let me know about any or categorize any call. So this is using speech analytics that is about a refund.
Right.
And the moment it captures that as a category, it says, "Yep, this call was about a refund." The conversation, from the generative AI has managed to work it out. Automatically create a case.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and that's pretty powerful, right? And we've built a version of this, as part of what we had in Salesforce, and the fact now that it works out of the box with our Amazon Connect case capabilities is fantastic. Right. So again, awesome. It continues to show it shows the power of what we have with contact lens and how flexible it is across, not only our products, but partner products as well.
And it shows again how we are extending the information and the knowledge of the contact center beyond the contact center, and actually, once more, I say it all the time, moving the contact center into the main drivetrain of the organization. Actually delivering value as customers are talking about things, you're automatically creating actions and making that happen. Magnificent. Exactly. The one I want to talk about, and I think I want to talk about it not because of this particular feature, but because of as in this particular addition to the feature, but because I think this feature is so impactful. And
I think it's really cool, actually. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty awesome. But go ahead.
It is the multi-user web, in-app, and video calling. So I think a lot of people, particularly the customers I talk to, overlooked web and in-app calling it was sort of like, oh, it's a neat additional thing, end-to-end web calling. So, I mean, everyone's familiar with calling within, say, WhatsApp or something like that, calling over the internet, bypassing the traditional carrier network. In Australia, late last year, we had a massive outage by our second biggest carrier. 2 days they were out. All of a sudden, that focused the mind of every single customer I talked to ever since then about diversifying the potential points at which customers could connect them or connect to them. And I want to make a special shout out, and we'll put this in the show notes because there is a blog post that you alerted me to, Mark, which was written by Nelson Martinez, who is one of my favorite, and Matt Denef. I was going to say Matt Denef. I was getting to it, but Nelson Martinez, who I've known since about 2006 and worked with him at various companies. If anyone instantiates or embodies customer obsession, it is Nelson Martinez.
Yes.
And Matt Denef is absolutely one of the original Connect people, going back to being on the support for Connect. As long as I've been here, I remember support cases open. There was Matt's name attached to it and all the rest of it. So, massive kudos to both those guys for getting that blog post out there and amping up the multi-user in-app and web video calling, because now not only can you have one person calling in, you can have multiple parties calling in. It could be multiple parties. I think the example they use is applying for a mortgage. So there might be two people, part of a couple or multiple parties that you can both be on the call and managing that interaction.
Well, and the other thing is you can even do screen share, right? Which is also great, right? So like you could have three parties in a call,
it's a session. It's awesome. No longer a call. It's a session. Yeah. And so you can pass all kinds of data in there.
And I think the other key part of that too, right, is the ease at which when you're talking earlier sort of about the the web aspect as well as the mobile aspect, right? Like telephony is great, but it's the element of how essentially there's a telephony interface there, right? And this simplifies that, right? In terms of when you have those type of calls, right? You have a lot more flexibility around that UX and how that how you're interacting with the end customer, right? To make it that more seamless interaction overall.
And let's not forget about, if you're on their website or you're in the app, you've got the authentication that you can pass through.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you now know who it is. You can, and it's not only how you can treat them, it's what you can allow them to do now on that interaction. So absolutely massive.
Exactly.
There has also been the yet another addition to forecasting, capacity planning, and scheduling. It seems like every single week there is a new feature released, and I think we've been sleeping on it because we're waiting to do an entire show on forecasting, capacity planning, and scheduling.
That one might have to be taken an hour, to be honest. We might have to break the 30-minute rule.
Because I mean, if you look at our what's new, it's just release after release after release after release on this stuff. The one this week has been recurring activities and agent schedules. So Amazon Connect supports recurring activities, allowing you to add repeating events in a few clicks. So that means you're not having to put in that daily stand-up or the weekly event. It automatically flows into the schedule. Your agent's going to be put in the right spot at the right time. You're going to have the occupancy that you need. But I just want to call that out because, again, I think it's just such a big topic. We often steer around it, even though basically every week there's a new FCS feature.
I mean, I'm just continue to be impressed with the velocity, which we just continue to improve and enable and introduce new capabilities with FCS. So it's been. I mean, we didn't have this product 4 years ago, right? And it's amazing how much progress we've made since then.
It would be remiss of us to keep prattling on. Without the stuff that we're interested in, without actually turning to our actual guest and the person that everyone's going to want to hear from. Now, Sheila, I want to be clear with you. It pleases me no end to say your name because it is my mother's name as well. My mother is called Sheila.
Wow.
Which is quite entertaining in Australia because, as you probably have heard, that a parochial term for females in Australia is Sheila's. Anyway, but we'll leave that to one side.
I get asked more often than you think if I am Australian. I think
that's the thing. No one here is called Sheila.
Yeah. Well, my last name is
well.
Bushman, which I think people think is Aboriginal Australian.
Yeah, I suppose so. I had the Bushman.
So I think the
right.
combination really tips the scales.
All right. Well, I'm actually. We'll do it off the podcast, but I'm intrigued to know your ethnic history going back generations. So let's
good.
get to.
It's not Aboriginal Australian. I'll just say that.
Well, it might be 80,000 years. You might have been.
That's right.
Weaved
I
in
don't
there
know if
somewhere.
it is. I guess.
Now, you're the product manager for Agent Workspace. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Fantastic.
And third-party applications. I will sprinkle a little bit of that in, but focus on Agent Workspace.
So talk to us. I mean, I have been around since effectively maybe a little after service launch in the Sydney region. And I remember we launched with the CCP, which was remains available to our customers for their call control and interaction control. And I love it because it was so central for so long to what we did. And it was at the time when I joined explained to me that basically our foundation customers had said, we don't need a fancy desktop. We've already got a Salesforce or a Zendesk or a Insert CRM, Dynamics, whatever it is. We've got a desktop
or custom, or a lot of our customers have their own, right? They
had their
a
own,
lot of custom desktops that they built themselves.
And basically they said, stay out of the way, make a nice, simple, elegant soft phone that can handle our interactions and pass, context across, so you can do screen pops and whatever. And that was good enough for quite a while. But then several years ago now, we launched the Agent Workspace. Could you talk to me about why and how it fits into the ecosystem?
Absolutely. And Mark is also a good person to have because I know that he was also really critical to this launch.
Yes.
Mark, do keep me honest as I answer these questions. You're exactly right, Douglas. For the longest time, we had a CCP, really simple, really effective to take contacts, and then we expanded channels over time. We finally, expanded our offering to bring in other agent empowerment applications that we were observing customers have in an all-in desktop. So we were seeing that they had customer profiles and case management and knowledge articles. And we thought, well, hey, we can enter that space and we can provide an all-in-one solution for our customers. And with that, the Amazon Connect Agent Workspace was born as really a container that could make it easy to have all of your applications in one place, to reduce the amount of clicks and searching that agents were doing. And on the customer side, to make it easy for customers to get up and running quickly. So rather than having to go integrate different vendors, stitch together different providers who are each providing some part of an all-in desktop, now we were all under the Amazon Connect umbrella. And these customers could just click and configure and opt in to whichever products that they wanted. So this, as we added more capabilities, our Agent Workspace became more powerful. And I do feel like today, standing here today, we have all of the core capabilities that customers want. It was a journey for the past couple of years to add these capabilities, to gain, all the features of these capabilities. But now I feel we're really winning customers easily with our Agent Workspace, and we're having customers who want to talk to us about it. And want to learn more about its features and what they can do with it.
Can I engage in what you Americans call a little bit of inside baseball? I'll say inside cricket, so that I've never used that expression before, but I'm creating it.
I'm glad I had to cut it off last week. It went on, John. You were about to go for turn the whole episode into a cricket episode.
It's fair to say that I think when we had the contact control panel, the CCP, I was surprised, and most people were surprised, that you couldn't screen pop anything within the CCP. That we're so attribute driven, and yet when it came to the desktop, there was just nothing that we could do. The other
Yes.
observation I would make is
Great.
that when we launched the Agent Workspace, I looked at it and went, this doesn't do very much. And over time,
it was a little bit minimal. Yes,
it
we
was
can
I
say
like,
went
that for
back
sure.
a couple
Yeah.
weeks and I saw one of our early designs of that
Yes.
workspace, which was our version 1. It was
Mhm.
side-by-side panels, very simple. We have come a long way
Mhm.
from that day.
And this is I don't
Yes.
feel ashamed to say this. This is
No.
the velocity of our innovation.
Mhm.
We begin with a
Yes.
framework, and we've just added more and more and more and more things to it, to the point now where I look at it, I think this is astonishing what this thing can do when
Mhm.
we think of all the different features. So do we want to talk through at this point? And maybe Mark, I'll let you if because I, as usual, I'm just talking.
Yeah.
But
It's all good,
I want to
Doug. It's all
talk through
good.
all the different things you can now do in
Yep.
the Agent Workspace.
I was remiss and not mentioning the screen pop functionality, which is our step-by-step guides product from the get-go. That has been a
Mhm.
huge
Yes.
enabler
Mhm.
for our Agent Workspace. From simple, show right customer information when the contact comes in, so the very typical screen pop use case,
Or
to
stop start recording is a very common one
yep,
that people might use. Yep.
yep,
Disposition
um,
codes.
and
Disposition codes.
disposition
Yep.
codes on the after contact work.
Boo.
And then
Yes.
customers, the journey is then, customers define more complex and structured workflows where
Yeah.
their agents can
Yeah.
really navigate multiple steps in a process just through one product, the step-by-step guides product. And then if they need to fill anything into cases or pull in information from customer profiles, they're able to do that.
Yeah,
I
so
think
we've got
one of my
you
favorite
mentioned
parts.
a bunch of things there, Sheila, where so we've got you had customer profiles, so that's what we know, a
Right.
store about customers, a CDP, a customer data platform.
Right.
And
Customer,
you've then
yep.
got go on.
Case management, Amazon Connect
Yep.
cases. So that's to manage the issues, whether it's a single contact issue or a long running issue. Like think of an insurance claim, that's a type of issue for an insurance company.
And you might have multiple contacts associated with that. A case
That's
might
right.
have multiple calls, multiple chats as you're trying to resolve that insurance. Yeah,
Yes.
because
Yep.
from a contact center perspective, historically we've thought of we look at interactions individually. How many interactions do we have, rather than from a customer perspective, which is I have an insurance claim. All these interactions are all about that insurance claim.
Yep. And one, you'll see that in the case management product. We have an activity feed where you can see all of the different activities that are related to this particular issue. You can see what are the ongoing tasks. They could be happening in parallel. They could be assigned to different agents of different specialties, like someone who's reviewing the damage photos and coming up with estimates, someone who's coordinating the rental car. So there's multiple things happening in parallel for those kinds of complicated car accident issues.
Fantastic. And Mark, do you have a favorite part
Uh-oh.
of the Agent Workspace?
Oh, I do. Yes. So
Oh.
my favorite is third-party applications.
Sweet.
Oh,
Thank
So
you.
that
Love
is
that.
yes. So and Sheila, maybe talk to like why, what is third-party application? What has that really done? Right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that was, as much as we had this unified set of capabilities, right? Third-party applications really opened the door,
Yes.
I think, for a lot of partners and customers, right, to really start to bring in customizations and
Yes.
external applications.
Yes, exactly. So we think of third-party applications brings this level of freedom, as Mark was saying, of customers can bring in whatever applications they need their agents to have and to use when resolving issues. And that's been really magical. So these third-party applications could come from partners who have built an application for the customer, and they could come from customers themselves who have built their own purpose-built solution. So we see examples like a payment processor, which is generally built by a partner, or a homegrown CRM, which was built by the customer. We also see customers using third-party applications to fill any gaps, such as call logs or agent transfers or there's some like really creative solutions. The other thing I'll add is you could even embed third-party applications into step-by-step guides. So if you're in a situation where you're trying to guide the agent through what to do, but they need some other external tool, well, you could just embed a third-party application directly, or even as a link that could open into the Agent Workspace. So there's a lot of
Well, Sheila, I learned something today. I did not know that.
yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, and I think that's to bring it back to those step-by-step guides, because that's when we tie that to, and I know on previous episodes we've gone deep on the knowledge management recommendations, the queuing connectors, it has been called, but really the recommendations from knowledge stores as to, what the, based on what the customer is saying, information, direct answers to those questions that the agent can use. That really, when you look at the step-by-step guides, now the third-party apps and third-party apps as part of step-by-step guides. So the agent has the process of what they're supposed to do step by step. Someone's applying for a loan. Okay, this is the information you're going to need to elicit. This is what you're going to need to get. The recommendations from the knowledge management that we're really starting to deliver on. Pasquale, who I've mentioned on previous episodes, Saint Pasquale, PQ, the leader of the service, that we are delivering on his vision for reducing the time to competency for an agent down to 1 day. So you hire someone brand new, and they are able to begin working straight away because they have all the tools, they have all the information they need to deliver for their customers.
So, Doug, there's this really interesting stat that we've used. I think it's a Gartner stat, right, that we've used. And it's where essentially contact center agents, right, on average, use about 8.2 different systems and tools every day.
8.2?
Right? So 8.2. Yeah, very specific.
Yeah, it's very specific.
0.2 of an app. Of an application. Yeah. I don't know what a 0.2 application does, but it obviously does something. So, it goes back to that single pane of glass experience, right?
Yes.
And that's super important for agents in terms of how do we hear from customers all the time, like, help us reduce the number of clicks that our agents have to go through to solve an issue, right?
Yeah.
And that is super important, right? And that's been something that we spend a lot of time focusing on, right, from a UX perspective, and how do we make that simple but flexible at the same time, right? Because given the variety of systems that we have to that we work with our customers on, right, they need those key capabilities.
And I don't want to understate the size of this problem. I've spent, since we last met a week and a half ago, Mark, I've been in 2 different contact centers, actually doing the side-by-side, putting the headphones on, because I wanted to understand what was happening in their contact center. And in both of them, 8.2 is a pretty realistic number. And oftentimes they're also maintaining, this one still drives me wild. They were, both of them, they were still maintaining like a text file of just things that they need to know throughout the day, the copy-paste.
The magic notepad.
The magic notepad.
And we have joked about that as a third-party application, but I don't
really,
even
that would be a
joke. I think it's actually a really important one.
I think you're right, Sheila, because this is the heartbreaking thing is this is agents actually really effectively working around the limitations of their environment. That they're finding a way through because they see their job as, I'm trying to help these customers that are calling me, or these people, these citizens. In this case, it was 2 public sector customers. Like they're doing the best they can, but the tools are getting in the way, and that's what we're trying to solve.
And I'll give you a good example. That actually came up today same thing. I was in a customer conversation, and we were showing them essentially where at the end of a call it can show the transcription, right, from contact lens, and when they saw that, they're like, oh, that's fantastic, because now the agent doesn't have to sit there and write all that stuff down, right? Because the agent is so scared of losing or missing a piece of information. Yes. Now that they have the transcript that they can go back and reference, they have some confidence that they don't have to keep this notepad of all this information. Right?
I think that one goes back to episode 1. It is a straight line to agent productivity gains. There's that one is just it's a no-brainer. But I feel as though, as is often the way, I talk too much, you talk quite a bit, Mark, and we just keep talking over Sheila because I now want to come back to, because we are trying to keep this one to 30 minutes. This is our rule, but
Doug is
so
really
much,
trying.
so much to
Sheila,
talk about.
Doug is like he's holding it in.
Believe it or not, I actually am. So, as a final question, unless, well, for me, Mark may have one after.
Sure.
How does the Agent Workspace fit into the overall Amazon Connect vision? I mean, you're part of the product management team. You're right there at the top echelons. When you're thinking directionally, and I'm not obviously asking for anything that you know is inappropriate to share, but where does the workspace fit into the what we're doing going forward?
I think the key thing is something you said earlier, and Pasquale is always emphasizing this for the vision for his org. It gets customers up and running quickly and easily. And, in general at Connect, we serve customers of all sizes across all industries. Our personas are the typical contact center personas, like the agent, the admin, the supervisor. But we also see our customers have different personas we didn't even think about. And we expand our personas as we learn about these customer needs, like to the end customer, and even to more hybrid roles who are wearing multiple hats. The idea is that this workspace will enable you to get up and running quickly, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what personas you have for your company. And we really see ourselves carrying out that vision with all of the decisions on the product that we're making every day of how extensible is this product? How do we flex into the future?
And I think that it's not just the new agents, is it? It's like it's also there may be things that agents aren't asked to do that often. Could be around tax time. There's certain things they do, but the rest of the year they don't get asked. So it's though being able to pull those processes to them, make it easy. So it's not a constant retraining and reorganizing. But Mark, I'll hand to you. Is there anything whilst we have Sheila?
I mean, one other thing that I'll definitely highlight here, right? And Sheila, I mean, I'd love for you to add to this, but one of the advantages that we have with the Agent Workspace is it is typically the first place where our newest features show up. So Sheila, like maybe talk a little bit about that, right? Like why that's such an advantage, particularly the speed at which Connect continues to innovate and drive new capabilities.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I mean, every day Mark and I get in front of customers who are thinking about how do I get started with Amazon Connect? There's a CCP, there's an Agent Workspace, there's a custom CCP I can build. And as much as possible, as much as it works for customer use cases, our recommendation is to start with the Agent Workspace, especially if it has the beginning out-of-box features that they need, because as we expand our feature set, as you guys started with all those What's New posts, if you're on the Agent Workspace, it becomes a click and configure to opt into these additional features. And if you are not on the Agent Workspace, if you are on a out-of-box CCP or a custom CCP, you have to make a transition if you're on the CCP to get to Agent Workspace and the new features. And if you're on a custom CCP, you have to go ask your developers to integrate the new features. I will say we are still focused on builders and
always
their
yes,
tools.
There are people.
Yes. But it is easier to click and configure. Right. It is easier to click and configure for the general customer than it is to go through a backlog with your engineers to add additional features into your setup.
We need to look after the 2-seat contact center and the 20,000-seat contact center. We need to look after everybody because they're all our people. Exactly. They're all our customers. And I deal with them. Perhaps a few too many of the 2-seat contact centers for my boss's liking, but a few more of the 20,000 seats would be good.
And the other thing I'll add, I actually thought Mark was going to guide us here, but I love that question too.
I like the dig you've just given at Mark because I think he often fails to guide.
He's always AI is coming, right? And Doug, when you were talking about the way you were shadowing these contact centers and how many tools they were using, we also see that every day when we go talk to our customers or we go shadow our agents. And we just see a lot of opportunities to incorporate more AI into their experiences so that agents are focused on doing the human parts about helping end customers and that the tools are helping them as much as possible. So agents don't have to sit and type summaries, and they're able to get an auto-generated summary, or they don't have to go post summaries onto cases, but there's some kind of automated action. So we are really pushing ourselves on how do we use AI to help automate away the simple task and get humans focused on the end customer.
So, Sheila, you've already admitted prior to us starting this recording that you didn't listen to episode 4. Had you listened to episode 4,
I'll go back. I promise I will listen.
You would have heard us speak eloquently about the fact that we don't view the use of generative AI as a sort of a horizontal, where it's going to be, there's a bot up front, and then when that fails, it goes through to human. It's actually a vertical where the human's on top, and more of the kind of tools underneath will be AI. But the human is still handling the interaction for the most part, because that's what you want. You want the human. But, when Sheila calls into my contact center, the agents, as in the AI agents, are going off and, authenticating, checking credit limits, doing all the things they need to do, but I'm still having the conversation with Sheila. And I think that's my vision and our vision for how things are going to be. And I think that's where the Agent Workspace, exactly what you're saying, is delivering on that.
Yep.
But once more, we're at 31 minutes and 20 seconds as far as I can see. So we're getting closer, Mark.
You did better, Doug. You did better. I'm impressed. It's like week to week. We'll get there. We'll get you there. Maybe by week 10, we'll finally get it under 30.
Yeah. There's so much to talk about.
We have the same problem internally. We're so passionate about our product. Our meeting is a couple minutes over.
That's right. That's right.
Sheila, thank you so much for being on the podcast. And will you promise to come back?
I will, but I promised first I would listen to episode 4. So let me do my homework and then I'll come back.
1 through 3 are also strong,
Okay,
that's right, exactly. Just saying.
But anyway, from Melbourne, Singapore, and Arlington, goodbye, everyone, and thank you both. This has been awesome.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks,
Mark.
Mark.
Thank you both. All right.